that our 49er insider, Cam Inman, has arrived on the show and apparently needs to pay up some sort of a bet to America's favorite Italian, Larry Krueger. Is that correct, Cam? Is there some sort of bet that needs to be paid off here?
Yeah, I think I owe Larry $1 million at Jimmy Garoppolo on the 49ers.
Okay, all right, perfect. We will take that in installments. That's fine.
No, I don't think that was a bet. It was whether Brock Purdy was stuck around. And quarterback I had my eyes on. My eyes were on what the heck is going on here with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, and we got to see all three of them out of practice yesterday, and that's really where my eyes are, just to see how the whole dynamic's working out, and it's going to be fascinating.
I mean, since you were at practice and Jimmy did sort of say something yesterday about like, hey, the shoulder feels good. It's not 100%, but it feels good. I think I'd love to hear more about that. How did the shoulder look?
Yeah, well, I thought he looked pretty darn good. I mean, I was watching to see. Jimmy's had so many injuries over the last few years. It's like, how's his high ankle sprain? How's his knee? How's his thumb? How's his shoulder? And he looked all put back together. And he looked like he looked lively. The arm looked a little bit crisper maybe than usual. It had been a while since we'd seen him in practice, but that's kind of what I was looking at. And I was just watching to see how he not necessarily interacted with Trey, because when they're doing their drills, it's just kind of you're doing your own thing. But there's a lot of new drills because there's a new quarterbacks coach with Brian Greasy, and so Jimmy's got to learn where to be in certain places. He didn't look too out of his element. He didn't look super comfortable, but like you said, I mean, it's almost like it's a stopgap measure almost in his career. It's like, okay, this is the bridge until I move along somewhere else. He's not here to mentor Trey Lance. He's not here to take back his old job, but he's here. And I don't think anybody is offended by that. And I think it's, okay, this could work out. I don't think it's going to erupt into something bad.
You know, it's interesting. I think it's situational. I think both sides are doing what's best for them, and I think it just happens that they've arrived on the same page here. But you could say this is a hedge against Trey. I don't know that it's a hedge against Trey's play or a hedge against Trey getting hurt and them having to go to the backup quarterback and not really having a backup quarterback or at least one that they think they can win with. What is your view on how this plays out as far as the dynamic? Because Trey and Jimmy both said all the right things. Nothing's changed with our relationship. That's believable, but how's it going to play out in that room?
Well, and I wrote about it today a little bit because I just don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is even one of the top 5 mentors that Trey Lance. Trey's going to be getting it from Shanahan, from Greasy. There's other assistant quarterback coaches in there. I mean, maybe Shanahan dips his head in there. Maybe it's Steve Young calling him up. Jimmy's got to do his own thing to be prepared. Like, it's the whole backup quarterback cliche. I got to be preparing like a starter. Thankfully, Jimmy didn't throw that out there yesterday. He was much more, I think, honest and humble about everything. I mean, they're both really good guys. And it just would have been surprising if Jimmy came out yesterday and said, I'm determined to win back my old job. I'm a starter in the league. And he knows he's a starter in the league. And it's just right now there's not a spot for it. But guess what? Give it a week, give it 2 weeks, give it 3 weeks. A spot may open up. So it's not a long-term solution. To me, it's not like, okay, Jimmy's settling in, he's going to be the nice backup quarterback for a whole season. Nobody knows that. It's just kind of almost the same predicament we were in a couple of weeks ago where it's like, look, if a quarterback goes down on a contending team and they're not really that committed to that quarterback, then Jimmy can bounce. I mean, even if it's a good team,
Cam Inman, our 49er insider, with us. Cam, I want to check your phone real quick. Make sure we're getting it's breaking up a little bit, and we want to hear every single word that you're saying. You got us okay?
Yeah, I got you good.
Okay, right, perfect. Now, yeah, you're sounding nice and clear now. And I'm going to do something really crazy too, which is I'm going to ask you about a different Trey. How about that? What if there were discussions about trading Trey Sermon, then and he was going to end up getting cut? Why didn't they do it?
Well, I think look at how the roster is, right? And it is a run-oriented offense still. Trey Sermon's best asset as a running back kind of was more of a third down back. He was a guy that had good hands, probably could pass protect pretty well. but he just wasn't like their style of cut and go runner. But that was okay. That's not their marquee. Like, they want to have the mainstay running backs, right? So your mainstay running backs are Elijah Mitchell, right? You got Ty Davis Price, who's kind of the pound and ground guy, and then Jordan Mason, who could do it all. He was very intriguing, where you didn't want to let him go because he could be a mainstay guy. So by getting rid of Trey Sermon and JaMychal Hasty, you kind of got rid of these third down backs, where Jeff Wilson Jr. can take care of that role pretty well, I think. And then it just, maybe the market wasn't there where they've, or maybe they didn't want to trade him to a certain team. I don't know, but I think it's worked out fine. I mean, I don't think anybody is surprised that Trey Sermon is off the roster.
And Sermon just looked tentative. If there's a word that I would use, it's tentative. He just didn't quite look like he was really letting it go in the games. Right. I thought he looked okay in practice, but in the games, especially in short yardage, he looked tentative. How about the O-line? Because, I mean, you're only as good as your O-line. I thought that if there was any news that came out of the presser, it's that the Brunskill hamstring is not 100%. We know McGlinchey's not 100%. And it sounds like Zakel is on the verge of maybe becoming their long-term center. But how concerned are you about the 49er offensive line?
I'm concerned to an extent, but I don't think a lot of teams around the league have a great offensive line, and I think you have a really good play caller that knows how to minimize where the risk might be. I mean, you're facing Aaron Donald twice a year. Not every team has the Aaron Donald coming at you. Where they brought in this guy Hance, he lined up as the second string left guard behind Aaron Banks, right? Like right away, but he's also the backup center. So that's why they went out and got him in case Brunskill can't go. I mean, they're going to make a go of this with Banks, Brendel, and Burford on the interior. But any line that has Trent Williams at left tackle protecting the blind side of your quarterback, it's an above-average line, okay? And especially in today's NFL. It's not like everybody has 4 Pro Bowl linemen. Even if they do, like the Colts or somebody, there's other issues with the offense. You got a pretty good coach, and you got some dynamic weapons all around them.
Cam Inman with us, 49er insider on 95.7 The Game. I also want to ask you about Jaquiski Tartt. A little bit of a surprise cut by the Eagles. I think some people almost assumed the 49ers would grab him with their issues at safety, but he hasn't been grabbed by anybody yet. What do you think's going on there, if anything, Cam? And gone. Okay. All right. See if you can get Cam back. And we'll keep rocking and rolling as well. We'll get to some of your calls here at 888-957-9570. Your favorite radio guest, Adam Rank, is coming up in 20 minutes because he's a whole lot of fun. He can talk about anything in the NFL. And I would venture to guess a lot of people are having fantasy drafts this weekend. I would venture to guess. And Adam is really, really good on that as well.
He's good. I enjoy him actually on the NFL Network, though his predictions on the Niners are almost always go the other way.
Right.
They went 13-3. Didn't he have them 3-13?
3-13.
Yeah,
yes, that was the famous one. And you got George Kittle going on and everything. Okay, is Cam back? All right, Cam, you got us now? All right, let's thanks, Cam. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you when you reach a different dimension with your cell phone. What